How the heck are you, everybody? I am Fastidious. Welcome to my channel and welcome to the third and final extra special Should You Summon video of this week. It is about our final banner starting tomorrow, the YMIRET VALDERON Special Ancient Summoning. We have a 15x rate up on two different Lord Ancient exclusive heroes. That is right. We have confirmation. Well, we already know VALDERON is an extra special, incredible, beast, godlike unit, Ancient exclusive Chaotic Lord. I mean, that's the only type of legendary Chaotic Lord. But I also have it confirmed in writing, I'll put that on the screen right now, that yes, YMIRET is considered a Lord, just like Ajax or Ajax. People are always on me about that. He's an unnameable Lord, and he is the Ancient exclusive version. He will only be able to be summoned through Ancient summons. He is considered a Lord, so he will reset your Ancient Pity, your Lord Pity, but he's a tremendous unit. All of this we need to discuss in the wake of the forthcoming, the upcoming, the thing we all know about, the Praetus banner. Praetus, the single best hero in the game, he is getting a banner either next weekend or now we're thinking potentially the weekend after, but certainly in the next 2 weeks we are getting a Praetus banner. This looms large over the decision for many to summon on this 15x special ancient summoning for YMIRET and VALDERON. So let's break it down, guys. Let's get into it. But first, guys, if you are looking to get that pay to win on and do a little spending before these amazing anniversary events, might as well save some money and get free bonus rewards while you do so. This video is sponsored by Smile1, the official third-party payment platform for Watcher of Realms. They offer long-term 10% discounts on all W Gold purchases, and on top of that, in anticipation of the anniversary, they are running a special top-up event from June 27th until July the 1st. These Smile1 deals are currently only available in the following regions: Russia, the United States, the EU, Indonesia, the Philippines, Taiwan, Korea, and Hong Kong. Of course, I am not telling you to go spending. No way. But if you want to and are planning on it anyway, you might as well save some money and get some free stuff. Plus, guys, by using my link, you'll be supporting me while doing so. Be sure to use my exclusive link in the description and top pinned comment. Thank you, Smile1, for sponsoring this video.
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
Alrighty, guys, so for this Should You Summon video, unlike others, I won't really be getting into what kind of spender you may be and what kind of player you may be, you know, how far you've progressed in the game. What I'm really going to touch on is a breakdown quickly of these two characters and then Praetus, and then the second part of the video will be the nitty-gritty of deciding, do you go now? Do you go on this weekend, or do you save for next weekend or the week after whenever Praetus does come? Because that kind of is the question. It's going to be one or the other. Unless you're the ultimate Kraken of all Krakens, it's unlikely you're going to go ham on both banners. People will just pick a banner, and that is your banner. So let us begin by quickly getting to know these heroes, starting with YMIRET because he is the new hero. Alright, so YMIRET is an unnameable hero. He's the second member ever of the unnameable faction. The key thing in the unnameable faction is they are all considered lords. They all come with a special passive over here called Ancient Blood, which increases team members' damage by 4%. This is all members of your team, both rows, not just the row that YMIRET or Ajax are on. They cannot be deployed with other unnamables, so you can't have a comp with YMIRET and Ajax. And then finally, they have what I call a Ditto ability, where they can kind of morph and transform to fit into whatever faction team you're running them with. So if you run them on a Northerner team, they get the benefits of having a Northerner Lord as if they were a Northerner. Same thing with Cultist, or Infernal, or Chaotic, or any other faction. So they're very, very flexible in that way. They've got a great general utility. This came with a buff a few weeks ago to Ajax, and now because YMIRET is unnamed too, he receives the buff. Very, very strong thing. The next key thing you really need to know about YMIRET, and then we'll go over actual skills rapidly, is his bond skill. If you went for Honora yesterday or today, or you're going to go for her before her event ends on Monday, this bond skill is crazy, and it's going to be like the hardest bond skill to get, because it is a bond skill shared between an exclusive limited hero who's only going to come around once in a blue moon, and you probably need 250 summons to guarantee you get them, and then an ancient exclusive Lord rate hero in YMIRET. but the bond skill is wildly good, right? So when you have Anora, you unlock the skill. There's now a 20% chance to inflict an extra stack of Winter's Bite. As you're going to see in a second, Winter's Bite is a very unique thing to YMIRET, and then also Anora if you have YMIRET, because then it makes her summon a special ice version that can do this, and it's really powerful. When you hit 3 max stacks, that's when you get these really strong freezes. It's obviously hard to get 3 stacks when you're doing 1 stack at a time in comparison to doing the 20% 2 stacks, right? The extra stack makes a big difference. What is Winter's Bite? It's going to reduce the movement speed, so it's essentially a slow by 25%. It can stack all the way up 25, then another stack to 50%, another stack to 75%. However, when you hit that 3rd stack, instead of being 75%, you're going to get a full 2-second freeze. Very strong stuff because you can have it popping a lot, especially if you have this bond skill with YMIRET. It's very, very good. Keep in mind, Anora, if you have her and then you have YMIRET, she will be able to apply Winter's Bite too. So if you're running them together, you can get a lot of crowd control. Another crazy thing about him is he's a really good hero. He's a good DPS. He's got a lot of versatility. Then he's got the second life thing, which is kind of what makes a lot of heroes excellent in this game. You know, especially if you think of something like GVG, it's the heroes that revive or have this long period of unyielding, of unkillability. That's what makes them so special. He gets that in something called Dragon Egg. So when he dies, if you've unlocked this bond skill, so you have him and Anora, he's going to get this egg that's going to get 50% of his max HP, block was reduced by 1, and he can't gain rage. He just exists in this egg state. If after 20 seconds, your opponents or the enemies cannot kill the egg, he just fully revives. This can happen once per battle, but it is super, super duper strong. Really good stuff. Let's graze over the kit. Hyper speed now. So when he's deployed, he can unleash something called Boreal Winds. It's a big slow. The slows are great. Then also he can extend durations of freeze. You can see he's got a lot of cool synergies with different crowd controls. He can bring them up to a maximum extension of 1.5 seconds. We love that. Heroes will also gain freeze immunity, any of your allies. That's very powerful. You know, we're seeing in the content right now with these event stages that enemies are putting freeze on us. In Arbiter of Frost, this will be really strong, right? Because he can put freeze on us. You could see there being future content where there's certain crowd controls like freeze, and having full immunity for your team would be really potent. Basic attacks, it's really nice. It's AoE damage, normal style damage, so physical damage, 80% of the target goes up to 100%. It's in between a multi-target and AoE, only 5 enemies, but then he can start doing some magic damage. So he does this crazy thing on his ultimate where he flies up in the air, he extends his attack range. I should tell you his base attack range is like that Arrogance Zela 2 absent attack range. So the same way it expands with those guys, it will expand with him. It becomes a proper 3x4 rectangle, and now all of a sudden he's doing magic damage. Really cool stuff. He starts putting out stacks of Winter's Bite. All allies within talent range are going to get that sweet freeze immunity that he naturally gains, right? So this is how he can start sharing it. So if you place guys in front of him, yeah, he can have freeze immunity on a lot of different people. It's a very unique kind of stuff. He has this hybrid form of damage, not in the way of Falsia, right? But in his own way, he's able to do physical sometimes, magic sometimes. You can just see there's a lot in his kit. He has some kind of support mechanics with the immunities. He's got great synergy with Anora, with other crowd control units. There's just so much going on here. He's really something. When targeting enemies inflicted with freeze, ignores 15% of their defense, and that's important, right? Because he's doing physical damage over here. Very, very strong. When Winter's Bite hits an enemy and triggers freeze, so when you get those 3 stacks, deals extra magic damage. So on top of the physical damage, now you're getting more magic damage, a big range dependent on the freeze duration, similar to Praetus in that way. Magic damage reaches its maximum when the effect duration is 4.5 seconds. It's nice that they break this down for us. And now also he gets something called Scale Armor. There's so much going on here, and it's all strictly positive. With that, it's going to increase his damage, and it's also going to increase his damage reduction, so he's going to get tankier. It is worth noting when he flies up in the air, he has no block, so he's not going to be tanking for anything. But you can see, as he does this, he's going to get big damage increases. He's going to take less damage. Very, very cool stuff. The final thing I want to point out, because this isn't a full breakdown, if you want to see a guide on YMIRET, just let me know. Especially if I pull him, then I'll definitely make a guide. His A2, just like Ajax, he gets a self-buff here, plus 5% attack. Very nice. But then his Lord skill, his Ancient Blood passive, the key thing of the Unnamables, just like Ajax, it is boosted by another 2%. So instead of increasing team members' damage by 4%, now it's going to be by 6%. A really desirable hero. I think a lot of people are going to go nuts on this banner, hoping to get VALDERON, and I don't blame you. We're about to talk about him in 1 second. However, if you do get YMIRET, don't feel like he's a consolation prize. I think once you use him, you'll be pretty blown away. I'll also mention mention, because people have asked, can he hit aerial units? Absolutely, he totally can. He's great at it, and his damage is crazy. He's just an awesome hero. VALDERON, we can go really quick now. He's been in the game for a while. Sometimes people ask me, they're like, what's the hype with VALDERON? Why do you rate him so high? Why is everyone so obsessed with him? Because he's insane. He's a one-man wrecking crew. I'm not even going to read you skill by skill by skill. He's just nuts. His ult has this fantastic thing that only him and Uridan have called Potent Surge, where he can load up his ult rage once and do a nice ult. It's a cool ult. Or if he can load up a second time and he gets like a super ult, he gets crazy, crazy stuff. He can provide vulnerabilities for himself. He has his damage escalation, just crazy, crazy stuff. He has tankiness. He has unkillability. He looks crazy. He obliterates things. He's just good at everything. And also, on top of all of that, of him being this total beast, he's amazing in GVG, amazing in Arena, all that kind of stuff, and a lot of PvE. Basically, anything in PvE, especially for progression, you could dream of putting him in. He will just wipe it out by himself. On top of all that, he is a chaotic legendary lord. There's only 2 of them, right? There's no normal one. You can only get them as ancient exclusives, so him and Gon are just extra valuable for that reason. There's no special counterpart. Like, it's like, oh no, you don't have Yovar, well at least you have Araka. Oh no, you don't have Soul Kittens, well at least you have Twin Fiend. Not, I mean, a lot of us don't have either, but you know what I'm saying. You can, just getting him at all is just going to break things open. If I got him, bye-bye Vladov. I don't have to deal with that anymore. His Lord skill isn't as exciting in terms of how much it can help his teammates the way Gon's can, but it's still really cool. The first 2 lines are still identical to Gon's, and this is really powerful. Particularly the second thing here, increases faction team members' damage based upon their lost HP up to 60% at 30% HP or less. 60% increased damage is wild. I can only think like that with my Ardia. Is it as good as Gon? No, but he makes up for it with all the stuff he does for himself, which just he completely empowers himself to be stupidly strong. Ridiculously, stupidly strong. Also, I'll show you these base stats are literally through the roof. 29.5k HP, 2100 defense, over 6600 attack. The guy is a total freak. He's worth every bit of the hype, and as we can see, as new content is added, he's crazy in Guild Boss 2. He was crazy in Gear Dungeon 2, aka Gear Raid 5. He's just good at basically everything and everything that's hard. This guy is a freak. Let's talk about Praetus oh so quickly, because this isn't the Praetus banner, but I think some of you just miss out on how much Praetus is a legitimate cheat code. He does everything. True damage, especially as we get into this harder stuff, is just so OP, it's stupid, and he does so much true damage. You can also see he can increase his damage, which it can also apply to true damage. He can scale that higher and higher and higher. He gets these permanent stacks from his talent. The key thing with him is going to be with his Lord skill. As you have more and more arbiters on the team, he can do these cool things as you load it up. It's like a bar on the side. It's a special Praetus Arbiter button. If you're loaded up to 3, you get the final verdict, the best version, where for every 1 faction ally present, he's dealing true damage equal to 200% of the Lord's attack to random enemies 4 times. It also inflicts a stun, a crazy stun. The Sacred Blessing applied along with this effect has an extended duration. It is beautiful. Sacred Blessing, as you can see, all damage plus 50%, again, including true damage. Think about how crazy it is, right? 4 instances of 200% true damage off of the highest base attack mage in the game. When Debbie comes, the new exclusive Watcher Lord, she will take this throne, but for now he still has the absolute highest and he does endless true damage. This is bonkers good, right? It's all going to be based off of him. But for every extra faction ally, you get another 4 instances of 200% true damage that is also scaling with damage increases. So just do the math. If you run a 5-man Arbiter team, that is going to be 5 instances of 200 damage 4 times. So it's 4,000% true damage, especially for boss content where it's just one-on-one. He is so unbeaten. It is ridiculous because these are random hits, but if there's only one enemy, they're all hitting him. So if you run 5 guys, it's 20 hits. 20 hits of 200% true damage with all the other nutty stuff. The rest of it gets really good. If you have in place, you know, he's got crazy rate and erosion. This is more true damage based off of defense. He's got Chain of Fate, very, very cool. He can scale himself, increasing his attack, which is how all his other damage is going to scale. This isn't a Praetus guide or a Praetus breakdown, but just take my word for it. He's the most overpowered hero when it comes to just beating content you shouldn't be able to beat in any single game like this I have ever played. And I've been playing these kind of gacha games, strategy games, since 2019. He is unmatched for how broken he is. So, as you hear that, you might be wondering, why would you ever not just wait for Praetus? Why would you go for this banner? The answer is really simple. A lot of people keep asking me, I have A0 Praetus. Should I go for this, or should I go for A1 Praetus? Everything I just said about Praetus and how bonkers he is, that all holds true at A0. Are Awakenings on Praetus awesome? Is this A3 insane? Absolutely. Do you need it as any semblance of a normal to even very, very advanced player? Totally not. Quite frankly, for progression, you don't need Praetus. There's not a single piece of content for progression in this game you need him. He is just going to help you a lot, and then when you reach the hyper endgame stuff like Guild Boss 2 and really, really difficult stuff in Codex, he is the god of all gods. He is as OP a hero as you could ever dream of. However, if you have him, that's plenty for literally, I would say, 99.99% of players. Unless you are a super, super competitive, super, super Kraken level player, there's no way that that isn't sufficient. And if you don't have one of these guys, you shouldn't be going for this banner, in my opinion. That being said, if you don't have Praetus, I think you should skip this banner with only one big condition, only one big if. And that's if you're like me and you just don't really want Praetus. Praetus is too good. He's stupidly strong. If I got him, I would use him. I probably would be very selective on where I use him because he just easy modes a lot of the stuff. Obviously, I can be a little competitive, especially with myself with the PvE stuff. So me personally, I'm not dying to add a unit as broken as Praetus. That is a reason to skip. The only other reason I see to skip Praetus is that you already have Praetus. If you don't have Praetus, you should be going for Praetus. Unless you're like me and you just want to go for the characters you like and you're not so meta focused and you don't care about min-maxing it the best possible thing. That's a very fair thing. I would be happier with either of these two personally than I would with Praetus. That's a me thing. That doesn't mean that these guys are better than Praetus. They are not. The only other condition I would say, the only other thing is if you're let's make it two. You're infatuated with Nora, you love using her, you want her at her fullest potential. To really take Nora to the next level, she needs her bond skill. When you get YMIRET, it turns Labor, the dragon she summons, into Labor Ice. He becomes a lot stronger, and he can also start putting out Winter's Bite. It is a lot better. It really is. So if you want to maximize Nora, you should try to go for YMIRET. It's going to be very hard to get YMIRET in the future after this, because he's just going to be a normal, almost impossible to get, ancient exclusive Lord Great hero. And then I would say, this is actually not just a want thing, but let's say the way your luck is shaken out, you have no Arbiters. You don't even have Valkyria or Constance, and you don't have any of the exclusives. Praetus will still be good. He's still good by himself. But he really needs one or two guys, and then ideally like a full team of 5. But even just one or two guys like a Constance and Alistair, for example, or a Constance and a Eunomia. He really needs that to be at the ultimate maximum crazy, crazy level. If you have no Arbiters, and let's say you have a full squad of Chaotic, or you have like, let's say you had Ardia and you have Sargok, then maybe you actually would prefer VALDERON, at least in the present. However, I think that's a small sliver of people. I think most people, if you don't have Praetus, you should skip this and go for Praetus. I will not be doing that. I will be going absolutely all out, balls to the wall, mind my language for this. I've outlined all the other conditions. I hope this was thorough. Guys, this video was a lot of work. It's almost 11:30 p.m. I streamed for over 8 hours today. If you appreciate this, please subscribe. Please give it a thumbs up. Use my Smile 1 links only if you're already planning on spending. But if you do, you're going to save money and you're going to help this guy right here. So I appreciate it. Thank you. Share it with your mother, and I'll see you real soon.
Fastidious.